What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining me on D's Analysis. We're going to be looking at MSTR and Bitcoin today. We've been having our nice leg up, looking good, and then now we have a nice little sideways action. Of course, hasn't been the best price action, based off of what Bitcoin's doing, but I don't think it's a cause of concern, not yet, at least. We're just kind of trending sideways. It's still a bull flag within itself, so it's really just starting to form a flag. So I guess if we wanted to take that, we can take it from here. And if we were to say that this is the bottom, for instance, that flagpole takes us to 7, 10 or something like that. I'm sure at some point we'll catch back up. We have deviated prior. I don't think it's too much to be concerned about. Like, I know it says that we're undervalued by 23%, right? And when you look here, these percentages, they're roughly, 20 to 25%. When you, take 20 to 25% off of 450, it gets you that 340 target and stuff like that. So we have seen this happen prior. So I do think at some point we will deviate back towards the line. Yeah, I definitely don't think this model is, spot on, as you can tell with all the dots on the outside. But hopefully at some point we'll get back to the point where we're deviating to the upside and everybody's happy, But anyways, we're getting that rejection here off of this region. More rejection than I was hoping for. I definitely didn't want this to be this tough to get through. But yeah, we're just chopping here. We're struggling to break through. We're just stuck between the golden zone, 0.618 to the 0.5. So hopefully we can break out of it and trampoline up. Above this level, we do need to break above the 445, 450 region, so we can kind of get a clean move to the upside. When you look here, not much traffic to the left-hand side. And if we were to fall back underneath this golden zone, then we're going to retest this zone potentially, and we'd have to chop, break through here, and then break that trend line and go down further. That would be the bearish scenario. The bullish scenario is chopping here, finally breaking out above the 450 region, retesting, and pushing up higher. On the daily SMA, we are right at the 20, as you can see. We just continue to hug it. So hopefully we can explode off of it and not fall underneath it. Definitely don't want to lose that. That's a very bullish, moving average to support price on the way up. And we'll go into a lower time frame. We lost our 20 on the 4-hour. So let's see if we retest it and continue pushing down to the 50, or if we can break through it, bounce off of it, and eventually break these highs. Right now we're starting to form, like I said, that flag pattern. So let's see if we can break out of it and, push up higher. This morning did start off pretty good, and then it just died out completely. But yeah, you can see we actually from here, because we gapped up initially, we pushed up, a total of 6% in like the first 30 minutes or something like that, and then just faded out the rest of the day. I thought maybe we were just going to get this wick fill and maybe start pushing back up, but it looks like that, this fluke that we're going through is a little bit longer than anticipated. That's okay. I don't think it's going to be hopefully not too much longer, and we can, get back to the normal price action that MSTR has. Here, RSI is looking very good. As we spoke about, we're getting close to the 70, and here we have higher highs, higher lows. Broke this region, and we're pushing down lower. So let's see where the next target is. When we take a look left and right, you can see that we're reaching a key zone here. So this has acted as support and resistance previously, so I do think we're potentially going to turn around relatively soon. Hopefully. I have no crystal ball, so I don't know what's going to happen. I couldn't have told you that this would happen either. Bitcoin running up and MSTR going sideways. I wouldn't have been able to guess that would happen. We were trending sideways with it, and now we're, completely deviating. We're pushing somewhat down, and MSTR is pushing up. Actually, let me see on a line. Maybe yeah, you can see the deviation better when you look at MSTR here in the blue. It's more sideways, somewhat down. and you can see that deviation here on Bitcoin. But it's okay. I think we're okay anyways. I know some people sold out, and I get it. It's frustrating. So I don't blame you at all for selling out of MSTR, because the reason you get into it is because you're bullish on Bitcoin, and then when Bitcoin's being bullish and MSTR is being bearish, yeah, it's frustrating. I get it. Here on the weekly, this is a 12-week, so we're somewhere in between here, in the middle of this move up. Hopefully, MSTR can start catching up and pushing back up higher. But overall, MSTR is looking bullish still. We're really not even getting much price action. Nothing really is happening. Just chopping sideways, and the volume's kind of, dying out. We're not really having much volume. Kind of sideways, somewhat trending downward. So let's see if we can get a ramp up on the volume and get this thing moving. Like I said, the first hour, 30 minutes or something like that, it was super bullish. It looked like it was going to be one of those MSTR days, and it just died out so quick. And when we take a look here at Bitcoin, Bitcoin's looking very good. When you look here on the daily, consistently creating new highs. This most recent close was 109.6 or 7, something like that. And you can see it's creating another bull flag to eventually break out of. So I wouldn't doubt that we end up breaking out of this thing here. Sentiment is, honestly, it's kind of just quiet. Like, it's breaking out, but I feel like a lot of retail investors haven't come in yet. It's just like quietly just breaking out. If you're into Bitcoin, you've been talking about Bitcoin all the way down here. There's nobody new showing up right now that's talking about Bitcoin in general. But yeah, I think things are looking good for Bitcoin overall. It's looking super bullish. So let's see if we can make it to that 140 to 160 region that we were talking about, with the 1618 running through it. I think the sentiment will continue to get better and better. Eventually we'll get to that extreme greed, and then maybe get a nice sell-off, and then maybe continue the move. It all depends on economic data, of course. We're going to take a look also at the MSTR divided by Bitcoin. Right now, this is probably the most important chart because of what's going on. So we have this support and resistance for this trend line here. You have a zone in this little area right here. This was kind of that primary trend line. Now we have the secondary, and it looks like we're closing outside of it, at least on the daily. We have done it before, and we trampoline back up and then continue to move up higher. So let's see if we end up getting a nice sharp move up. We'll see where things go. Maybe this looks better here on the line. So I wonder if we'll end up getting a similar move like this, where we got like an inverse head and shoulders, if you can see that. So like, what if this is just the first shoulder, and now this is half of the head, and we're going to continue back up, maybe a V-shaped recovery, the next shoulder, and then move up higher. That would be the bullish case. If not, then the bearish case would probably be, where we fall underneath that zone here. This would be the bearish scenario. Push down here, retest, and then, make fresh lows. That's definitely what we don't want to see, but that's what we could potentially see. I'm not saying it's going to happen though, but just the two scenarios that I could potentially see playing out. On the weekly, we only have one more day. We have tomorrow's trading day to see if this turns out to be a wick. If this turns out to be, a wick here and a nice body of the candle, that'd be super bullish. And obviously that means MSTR is outperforming Bitcoin for this week if we can turn this thing back green. We'll see though. Right now it's not looking like that will be the case, but you never know. Like I said, nobody could have predicted that this would happen right now. Like, when Bitcoin's breaking all-time highs, this is like the last moment that you think it would actually start to underperform. You would think that, sentiment would bring some volume and stuff like that, but this thing's always random. So But anyways, we're gonna take a deeper look here on BTC divided by, or MSTR divided by BTC. Here on the SMAs, on the weekly, we're actually pushing right back to the 20 SMA. So maybe that's all we're doing, and we're just retesting the 20 for a nice leg up. As you can see, we actually have done that prior a couple times. We did it here, shot off. We did it here, shot off, then we fell through. But once we broke back above it, we shot back up. Here we did it, and then we got a nice move up, not a major move, but we went, from 0.31 or 0.0031. So we went from 3.1 to 3.9. So let's see what happens. Maybe we go from 3.5 to 4.3 or something like that. That'd be super bullish. Maybe it acts as a trampoline, but we'll find out, of course, with time. On the daily, we are looking pretty bearish. We fell underneath the 20 and the 50, and we just got to close. So the likely scenario that looks like would play out would be a retest of this 50 here, retest and push down further to the 200. Definitely don't want to see the 200, but every time we have seen the 200, we've had sharp moves to the upside. So let's see what happens. The RSI on the daily is extremely bearish. We are reaching a key level, actually. If we draw that out here, you can see we're just about at this level here that we found support at previously plenty of times. You can see we've fallen underneath it temporarily, shortly. That was in that nice little drop that we've had here in February 2025. You can see that it has acted as a strong level of support multiple times. So this is a key level that we're actually at right now. We're not at oversold territory, but in terms of this RSI and how things have played out with MSTR versus Bitcoin, we are technically like in an oversold state based off of the previous support regions. Of course, oversold is technically being here at the 30, but I would say this is pretty much oversold on this RSI relative to this chart. On the weekly, we're at the midpoint here. We have fallen underneath this yellow moving average, so we want to claim that again. On the weekly, we are not at that oversold territory yet. So on the weekly, it's showing that we could definitely go much lower. I would say the key level here would probably be around 39.40, and we could probably ramp back up from there. Hopefully, we don't even see that. I definitely don't want to see that, but it could happen. So keep that in the back of your mind. Stay open to that idea. On the MACD, we flipped bullish. We started getting some volume to the upside, the green. Started seeing the sentiment getting, a little more bullish. And now it looks like we're trying to push back down. So let's see if we can just ramp this thing back up. But it looks like we're about to flip red. Hopefully not, but that's what it's looking like. Could potentially play out. And here on the daily, we are bearish. We're pushing towards bearish territory, the dotted line. And we're starting to kick up the momentum to the downside. So let's see if we can get a nice little curl on this blue moving average, and we can start curling back up and overtake this orange here. So you can see something like that. And when we take a look at Fibonacci retracements off of this leg here specifically, we're actually at a golden zone. So we're at the 0.5 of the 618, so maybe we get a nice move up. And then if we move it down here, we'll take it to this leg because we had a dip before, as you can see here in March and April, we were underperforming Bitcoin. And I'll take it to this leg. And you can see we made it underneath the 618, and then we started ramping back up. And then if we stretch it out further and we take this whole leg into consideration, we only have a pullback to the 382. So maybe we make it all the way to the 0.5, which would be 35 on MSTR divided by Bitcoin, and then maybe we ramp up from there. But we'll see. Just something to think about. We do have some support underneath it. So let's see if we get a sharp move to the upside and MSTR can start, outperforming Bitcoin again, and we can start seeing this chart trending back upward. But honestly, I can probably start to maneuver this trend line. It's a lot of engulfing candles and stuff, so more like that, less steep. And then I'll fix this one later. But this is kind of the trend line that we're looking at right now. It's still bullish in nature when you look at it. It's still creating higher highs and higher lows. So I don't really see too much to be concerned about yet. But I think it's still looking good. So I wouldn't freak out yet. Is it frustrating? Absolutely, but I don't think it's a cause of concern just yet. I'm trying to figure out how to draw this. I don't know if I want to discount this move up here and say that this is the channel, or if I, move it up here and kind of encompass these two and say that we never touched the top of this channel. So it could be either one, but maybe this one makes a little more sense. I'm not too sure, honestly, here. It's kind of funny. But you get the idea. We could be at the bottom of this channel, pushing up higher. Still bullish on MSTR. Is it annoying? Absolutely, but I'm sure we'll make up for it. Like I said, this is an 82% move, and from this point here, Bitcoin, it ran up 42% and it's currently up 48%. So at some point we did have an 82% move. Maybe MSTR simply just front ran this move that we're getting right now. Maybe we get a minor pullback and then MSTR starts catching back up. Not too sure, just kind of throwing out an idea. None of this is financial advice. I appreciate all the support that you guys have been giving me. I appreciate all the comments. Like and subscribe, share with a friend. I'll see you guys in the next one.